God of creation, there at the start, before the beginning of time. With no point of reference, you spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of life. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. And if the stars were made to worship so loud, I can see your heart in everything you make. Every burning star, a signal fire of grace. And if creation sings your praises, so will I. God of your promise, you don't speak in vain, no syllable empty or void. For once you have spoken, all nature and science follow the sound of your voice. As you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath, evolving in pursuit of what you said. And if it all reveals your nature so alive, I can see your heart in everything you say. Every painted sky, a canvas of your grace. And if creation still obeys you, so will I. So will I. So will I. If the stars are made to worship, so will I. If the mountains bow in reverence, so will I. And if the oceans roar your greatness, so will I. For if everything exists to lift you high, so will I. And if the wind goes where you send it, so will I. If the rocks cry out in silence, so will I. If the sum of all our praises still falls short, then we'll sing again 100 billion God of salvation, you chase down my heart through all of my failure and pride. On a hill you created, the light of the world, abandoned in darkness to die. And as you speak, 100 billion fairies disappear. Well, you lost your life so I could find it here. And if you left the grave behind you so alive, I can see your heart and everything you've done. Every part designed in a work of art called love. If you gladly chose surrender, so will I can see your heart a billion different ways. Every precious one, a child you died to save. And if you gave your life to love them, so will like you would again 100 billion times. But what measure could amount to your desire? You're the one who never leaves the one behind.
Greetings. I wonder how you like to say hello to someone when you meet them. Saying hello is really important. It begins the connection that we have with one another. And we have different ways of saying hello at different times. If we are meeting someone we know well and we love, we might give them a hug. Or if it's a friend or someone else, you will use a different way. And I wonder if you can think of examples of saying hello. We can see a baby waving. And sometimes people just wave and say hi, or they shake hands, or bump fists, high five, or bow to one another. In different cultures, there are different ways of greeting one another, and we each have different ways of saying hello and connecting with each other. We use different languages. If we were in India, we would use Namaste, and we would hold our hands like in a prayer position and just greet people with that word, Namaste. If we were Jewish, we would use the word Shalom, which is a way of saying, all good, peace be with you, Shalom. So we're greeting one another. In church, we take time to say, peace be with you. And sometimes we will just wave to one another or exchange in some way a sign of peace, letting everybody know that we're looking at them, we're listening to them, we're there with them, and we wish them well. Now, I expect some of you have been watching sporting events on television. Maybe you watched the football or tennis. Did you notice how players greeted each other, especially at the end of the match, when they were saying thank you or well done? And after each match, especially when the competitions were over, the players would meet with their coach, talk things over, decide what was good and what was bad, share their feelings about what was going on for them. And then they would take time out to make plans for the future. Jesus and his disciples had sort of team talks like that from time to time too. Once, after the disciples had been out on a special mission, they'd been travelling around villages, telling people about Jesus and telling them what Jesus had taught them. They said Jesus had taught them that they had to change their way, that they were to stop being nasty to one another, to stop being selfish and thinking only about themselves, to stop being greedy and to share things and to help each other, to look after each other and look out for each other, to love one another as God loved them. Now, some people believed that this was a very good message and they wanted to change, but others were not very happy at all with the message. They were quite happy with things as they were. They didn't want things to change. And so they made the disciples' life a little bit miserable. It was all about them. So when the disciples got back home, they met up with Jesus and told him all about what had happened. And I expect they told Jesus about all the good things that had happened, where they'd stayed, how people treated them, and also what had gone not quite so well. Jesus made sure that he listened to them, and then that they all had time out to think about what was happening in their lives, time to talk and time to rest. Now, I expect you're wondering why I have a picture of the Olympic rings. Well, we'll soon be able to watch the Olympic Games. They're being held in Tokyo this year. They're held every 4 years, but last year they had to be postponed because of COVID. And sadly this year only the athletes will be able to attend. These rings are a symbol of the Olympic movement. They represent 5 continents, and they remind us about the agreement that the Olympics have about 3 values that they have: excellence, friendship, and respect. 5 rings representing the 5 parts of the world. The Olympic rings remind us that we are one world. We are all part of one human family. We share God's world and remember what Jesus taught us was the best way to build a better world. Jesus called that world God's kingdom, and our purpose is to love one another. Now, after the Olympics have finished, just like the footballers, the tennis players and other athletes, like the disciples, the teams will take time to evaluate their experiences, to think about what has happened and share their feelings and thoughts. You're nearly ready to go on holiday. And so perhaps during the summer holidays, you will have time to think about things. Think about what has happened over the past year. Have time to talk with families and friends and share your thoughts and feelings. And time just to be quiet. Time to share your worries and your hopes and your fears. So taking time out is really important. So peace be with you. And I wonder if you perhaps might like to share a wave with each other. You might just like to wave to say to each other, happy holiday, or I wish you well. Peace be with you.
Be still.